What up, what up, what up? We are back with another episode of Chill with Chill. And today we obviously have a special guest, myself, hosting alongside Brother Chill. So you already know today, this is not going to be about any slander. There's not going to be any narratives talked about. This is going to be straight hoops today. Because, you know, Ox get up here, he getting nasty, start talking about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But I love Ox. That's my dude, man. You know what I mean? But also, Chill. When we work together, it's fireworks. Every time you and I do something, we're solo, bro. So I cannot wait to get into this episode. Chill. First off, how you feeling today on this great Saturday, my brother?
I really wasn't prepared, but it was almost like when you're in school and you see one of your buddies that you haven't seen in a while, and then they show up and you're like, uh-oh, this is going to be one of those days. All right, okay. I'm down for this. No doubt. I'm down for this.
Nah, for sure. So the way it's going to work, y'all, we're going to get to talking for the first 15 minutes of the show, and I see people are already down below ready to talk. And this is Chill with Chill, by the way. This is not Chill with Chill and Swipa. So I will not be answering any questions from the audience today. Everything will be directed at Chill. And Chill, if I get a question, you got to answer the question for me.
Sure.
But shout out, Frank, we'll get you up here in a little bit. But, man, this is going to be a great episode. So, Chill, now – I would love to talk about this because obviously, you know, Mr. Chill, Mr. Nasty himself wanted to talk about this. So Victor Wembanyama,
sure,
he had some comments that he made just the other day. If you haven't seen him, and Victor Wembanyama, when he was asked who the best player in the NBA is, he said, "I think Jokic is the best offensive player. I don't think he's the best player. I think it's between Giannis and Shea. And when I come back on the court, I think it will be me." Now, Chill, it's funny enough. Didn't we just talk about this the other day about all players think they can get with anybody when you ask them about it? So, Chill, when you saw these comments, what did this say to you about Wemby's perspective on basketball?
This is exactly why Wemby is who he is. This is exactly why Wemby is viewed the player that he is. Because to your point, just yesterday we were talking about the level of delusion that you have to have as a great player in order to succeed at this level. You have to think that I'm the best, that there's nobody better than me. No matter who it is, no matter what they are, there is nobody better than me. And of course, there's some holes in Wemby's game, but Wemby's not going to look at Joker. He's not going to look at SGA. He's not going to look at any of the best players and say, yo, he's better than me right now. No, I'm better than all of you dudes. Now, whether that's true or not, that remains to be seen. I mean, there's some people who don't think that. I don't think he's better than those guys, even when he's on the floor. But I mean, I love the confidence from Wemby. I mean, we're looking at a 22-year-old who is a freak of nature in terms of an athlete. He's a freak of nature in terms of a skilled basketball player. I've seen the likes of him, but for what he does in terms of his skill set and how much basketball has been transcended because of him, I mean, it's something that I haven't seen before. So the confidence level that he has, saying that, you know, Joker's the best offensive player, and I don't think that that's a question, but I'm better than him when I step on the floor. I mean, I can't give you any mental edge on me, because if I do that, then I'm conceding to you, and I don't want you. You're going to have to knock me down. And I love that competitiveness about Wemby.
Yeah, Chill. I think a lot of people, you know, obviously when this came out, you know, people were at me like, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that, like, he thinks Jokic is just an offensive player? Like, bro, to me, it don't matter, you know. And I think, Chill, when you look at this stuff, like, Wemby should believe he's the best. You know why? Because he's a 7'4" super freak we've never seen in the league before. And I think if you look at Wemby obviously is a very good defensive player, Chill. We said the last 2 years that if he's healthy, he went DPOY. But the only thing that separated him from winning 2 straight DPOYs is going to be his health. But I just think that it's completely fair for Wemby to feel that if you put me on the floor, put Jokic on the floor, I feel like I'm the better all-around player. But Chill, you know, you were obviously around in several different eras. You know, you were around during the Wilt Chamberlain era when he was not around, but, you know, you were aware of it. Wilt Chamberlain, obviously, a really good offensive player. Now, he was a good defensive player, but he was most known for what he did when playing versus Bill Russell, obviously. And Bill Russell was known as a better player because he won championships. He had impact on winning. A lot of people, including me, but a lot of this because of non-basketball reasons, think he's like one of the greatest players of all time. Wilt was just a super phenom. But then you go to the era where you get Magic and Larry Bird. Chill, Magic wasn't a good defender relative to the league he played in. Larry was a good defender, but he wasn't like out of this world, like locked down. But they were considered the 2 best players in the world. And then you get MJ, and then you kind of move through the 90s where you get Shaquille O'Neal and David Robinson and all these different players, and Hakeem Olajuwon. But then you started getting into 2000s. You get into Shaq, you get into Kobe, you get into Dirk, you get into Tim Duncan. So really, Chill, I think Steph Curry and Magic Johnson are the only players we've seen that have been in like best in the world talks that we're not like great defenders to a degree. And I think
Sure.
Jokic kind of fits that bill well.
There's the exception is what I call them. Whenever I think about Magic, when I think about, because I definitely am a guy who does value two-way guys. But with that also being said, you do have exceptions like James Harden. You have exceptions like Steph Curry, where they're so good in terms of Joker. They're so good on the offensive side of the basketball that you can't deny it because they affect the game so much. And when I watch Joker on the offensive side of the basketball, the things that he does, his ability to pass, his ability to navigate through any type of defense and be productive, no matter what the personnel is around him. I mean, when you see stuff like that from at that level, and it's consistent, because that's what I consider to be great. When you see something like that and it's consistent, the exception has to take over. So a guy like Joker, a guy like Magic, those guys are exceptions. But to your point, when you talk about all of those other guys, every last one of those guys said the same thing that Wemby said. They might not have said it on camera. We literally just talked about this yesterday. They might not have said it on camera. I'm 100% confident that Magic said he was better than Bird. I'm sure that Bird said he was better than Magic. And moving forward, I think Malone said he was better than Jordan. I think that Bryant said he was better than Duncan, and so forth. You have to have that level of confidence in order to be great at this level. And I love the fact that Wemby, even as young as he is, sees those guys as equals to him. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't be able to perform at the level that he's performing at.
But I told you, Wemby won me over rookie year when, again, this is when Denver was hunting for the first seed. They were on pace to win 58 games that year. But this was the game that they lost off the game-winning shot off somebody who's no longer in the league, and that's Devontae Graham, who's still a good player. But Wemby in the third quarter show, I remember him and Aaron Gordon, they got in an argument. And, they're up like 16 shows. So obviously, AG is like, he ain't like trying to flex on him. But, Wemby's trying to like, kind of big up him or whatever because he's 7'4". AG gets in his grill on a hard foul. Dude, I saw Wemby go from like 0 to 100 fast. And he had like 16 straight points. And it got so bad, Wemby at one point, cross half court, chill, I kid you not, cross half court, wow. And I'm just like, dude,
this is different.
Who is this man? You know what I mean?
Different.
So I love Wemby. You're not gonna see me say any bad word about Wemby. I think he has the right makeup. I think the way he plays is great. I think he's the type of player that we've been looking for, Chill, that you walk into the league, how we were looking at Zion and Ja Morant and the rest of them. They walked into the league and they said they're really talented, but they just didn't have the it factor. Wemby has the it factor, not just from his tangible skill set, but from the way he thinks about basketball, but also inside of here, he has a will to win that I think makes him a great, great player.
Sure. And I think, to your point, that's what's going to, barring injuries, that's what's going to propel him to be the best player in the league for as long as he would like to be the best player in the league. When I was won over by him was when I saw the look on his face when Chet ended up winning, I believe it was the gold medal in the World Games. And he's looking at Chet like, this guy shouldn't be out here with me. Like, this guy has nothing for me. That right there showed me the level of competitiveness that Wemby had, that I am far and beyond better than you and any one of you guys out here. And every time I see Wemby and Chet play against each other, these two guys 100%. It's obvious that there's some friction there, which I think is great for the game. But I think Wemby genuinely looks at Chet like, I'm better than you. And I don't think that he thinks on any level that Chet is even a competitor to him. Like, he really looks at Chet like, yo, I'm superior to you, and I want to prove it every time I go up against you.
Agree. Chill, would you like to bring a guest on?
Sure. Let's have somebody up.
All right, we got Frank waiting in the background. Now, Frank got his camera on, so you know what I mean? I can trust and verify. Now, SSE, whoever you are, I can't verify who you are. You better turn your camera on in the background because I don't know you trolling. You trying to bring Chill up. Yeah, I see you. All right, you're going to bring your camera on when Chill get up here too. All right, Frank, you coming on up. What's up, brother?
Good morning, Chill. Good morning. Good morning to Swipa Cam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I always got to show up and have on a camera because I do not duck smoke. That is me.
For sure, bro. Where are you from?
I want to come up here, obviously, and talk hoops. I know Chill obviously knows me from being from Jersey. So, yeah.
You're from Jersey?
Yes, I am, brother.
And is that a do-rag you got on?
Yes, it is, bro.
Oh, man, shout out to you. Got a do-rag on, man. Jersey different, bro. We different in Jersey, man. Shout out to you, bro. What do you want to talk about?
What's on your mind, Frank?
What's on my mind is I want to talk the Cavaliers. I think that they're going nowhere, Chill. I think that you made a very good point about D. Mitchell being a great player, and he's having his best year yet. He's an absolute superstar. I think he's in the top 10 convo. But in terms of them as a team, they're going nowhere. They
I just
got
don't think they're serious right now. That's all. I think that they have to get serious about what it is that they really want to do. And hearing the reports about there being a spat and the team only meeting where some things got hashed out, and I think that that's actually good for the group. And the reason why I think it's good for the group is because now we could get some roles established. Now we can understand who actually is serious around here and who is not. And that way we can either sit them down or get them out of here. But as of right now, watching this Cavs team, I don't think that they're serious at all. And
no way.
Until they get serious, I mean, they're going to be. If the season ended today, Swipa, they're a playing team as of today. They're a playing team. But the interesting thing is they're a half game out the 3 spot, which is interesting also. So they go from being a play-in team to being a half game out the 3 spot and hosting a playoff series. But this team isn't serious about what it is they're trying to do. I think that with everything that they've done over the course of these years, I thought that this was the year that they would take the step in order to be an NBA champion, and I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all. So
do you think
until some things change, until some things change, this is where I am with this team.
Do you think that their main problem is Mobley? That he hasn't taken that next step yet?
He has taken that next step. The problem is that the next step for other people is different. Like, who do you think Evan Mobley is?
He is
because he's never going to be he's never going to be a 28. He's never going to be Anthony Davis. He's never going to be Giannis. He's never going to be that good. That's not him. He's never going to be a 25 and 12 guy, a 28 and 13. No, he's never going to be that good. Who he is he's a defensive player who can score. I think at his best, I think Evan Mobley could be a 22, maybe 23 a game and 11 rebound guy. That's what I think he is. That's what I think he is ultimately. And I think that's especially on elite defense. I think that we can definitely go deep in the playoffs and possibly win with something like that.
100%. But that is my point right now, is that he hasn't been that, so far this year. And that's a problem. He's got to take that next step and score more until he, can literally score those points, score 22 a night well,
he had 22 and 13 last night, and he ended up winning. He was actually really sharp last night.
It has to happen at some point. And until that happens, the Cavs are going nowhere. They're going nowhere, bro. Like, that's it.
I think that they can. They're going to make the playoffs, but that's not good enough. That's not for this team. And we'll talk about the Cavs a little bit later, but I'm convinced that this team isn't serious. But good to talk to you, Frank. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
no
thank
doubt
you for
about
coming
it.
up, Frank.
Absolutely,
great job, bro. Great comments,
Thank you,
man.
guys.
Yeah, join again soon, bro. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think some of this chill is they're in a situation now where I just think the cohesion and everything they were looking at last year, 54 games they won last year. They were great in the clutch. Darius Garland not being healthy to start the year off, I think is a big deal, chill. Like the fact that their offense isn't peaking out to what it is, because last year their defense was good, but they had their offense was insane last season. And so do you think some of it is because Darius has been in and out, and Jared Allen obviously has been in and out of the lineup as well? They just haven't had a chance to really use their full personnel, including Lonzo Ball, to really establish a chemistry for this season?
Well, if you look at the dynamic of this crew, Donovan Mitchell, even though he's as dynamic as he is as a bucket getter, as a ball handler, as a distributor, that offense went with Darius Garland. He was their best ball handler. He was their best distributor. He was their better playmaker. And on top of that, he was efficient as a bucket getter. So when you add that to our offense, right? When that is our offense, where my primary ball handler in Darius Garland is great in pick and roll. This is a team last season that was in the top 5. I think they were in the top 5 last year in pick and roll man offense. This season, I mean, they're still in the top 10 in the league in overall offense. They still are. However, this is still a team that has a lot of holes. And losing Darius Garland early in the season, and in addition to losing Darius Garland earlier in the season, losing Jared Allen, I think that with this roster, the way that it's put together, the attrition has definitely contributed to them not being as good as I would like them to be. But the problem with that, though, Swiper, is that I've seen other teams with attrition in their roster, and they've still been able to overcome that because the style of play is conducive to each one of their games. So to lose Darius Garland, to lose Max Strus, to lose Isaac Okoro, right? These guys are the core of your team last season and seasons in the past. And then you develop something like that, right? To lose Ty Jerome, to lose Sam Merrill, to lose these guys, I think that does something to now your core, your group, because to have Tyson and Porter and Tomlin, like these new guys who are trying to get acclimated to a championship level team, and it's just not working. So I feel like with losing Darius Garland, that's a big deal. I don't think that this group right here that I see, I think that I'm going to see something different before the trade deadline, or even by the trade deadline. I don't think that they're going to stick with this group because there's a lot of things that have not been working out. One of those things that hasn't been working out is Lonzo Ball. And I was very excited about getting Lonzo Ball on the roster before the season started. I was thinking, yo, this guy can come in. He can knock down open shots. I think he's one of the better guard defenders in the league. I think he's a good distributor. With all of that being said, none of those things have really worked out. I mean, yeah, he can hit the roll man. Sure, he can hit guys in transition. That does work. But Swiper, you have spoken to me about the Denver Nuggets as much as you have. One of the things that I've always respected about them is guys like Jamal Murray. They can knock down open shots. If you can't knock down open shots, you're not helping us at all. You're not. And I feel like with Lonzo Ball, that's one of his biggest issues right now. The fact that he can't knock down open shots. He's a detriment to them on offense. So they have to clean. There's a lot of things that they have to clean up. And it goes back to what I said to you before, Swipe. I don't think this team is serious right now. I don't.
Yeah, I will say that, some of this is, Lonzo's in a new situation. So right now, in the 695 minutes that he's been off the floor, they're 8 points better. And to your point about the offense, so when he's on the floor, they got a 111 offensive rating. When he's off the floor, no Lonzo Ball, they have a 123.7 offensive rating. So basically there's like a 12-point difference in how good the offense is when Lonzo sits on the bench. Yeah. So for you, do you think this is something that will be improved on as the year goes on? So just for context too, Chill, they're currently 10th in the NBA net rating. So like, it's not like they're underperforming maybe in the record, but their team is still good. Like they're still on paper a top 10 team. They're still on paper performing like a team that should be considered one of the contenders in the Eastern Conference. But do you foresee a world in which they get better as the season goes on, as they get healthier, and as Lonzo gets a better fit in the system?
Well, Swiper, that's largely due to Donovan Mitchell being the bucket getter that he is. That's why that offense is what it is. I mean, he had 24 in the fourth last night. They weren't doing well at all up until that point. He basically saved them, and that's kind of where they are in terms of their offense. It reminds me, it's interesting that I have you up here because it reminds me of Joker last year, where it's this save us Joker type of offense where we're running and it's just not working, and then Joker kind of takes over the game and saves them from time to time. And that's exactly how I feel about Donovan Mitchell. That's why the net rating is what it is. That's why the offense is what it is, because Donovan Mitchell has to go into this save us mode, and it works sometimes. Don't get me wrong, because I think he's one of the most dynamic scorers in the game. But I mean, that's a recipe for disaster if you think that we're moving forward with that, where every night we got to rely on this guy to save us and not get production from other guys like Lonzo Ball. I can't expect you to just turn it around. I mean, it does have to get better, and it sounds to me like I'm hoping that it gets better. Swiper, hope is not a plan, brother. Hope is not a plan. We have to get better, or we have to go in a different direction. So I know it's early in the season. I think we're barely a third into the season, something like that. We're getting up.
Well, not even the third yet.
Yes, so something like that. With that being said, this has to turn around for guys like Lonzo Ball specifically, because he's an integral part of what they're trying to do. An integral part of what they're trying to do.
Chill. So for you, Donovan Mitchell, by the way, is averaging 31, 5, and 5 this year, and he's shooting 50% from the field, 39% from three on 11 attempts a game. That's like Anthony Edwards' efficiency from three, like he did last year, 84% from the line this year. And Chill, just so you know, Donovan Mitchell, when he's been on the floor this year, so just by himself, the Cleveland offense is 16 points better goes from a 108 to a 124 with Donovan Mitchell this year. When Evan Mobley is off the floor, no Donovan Mitchell, they go to a 128 offensive rating without Evan Mobley this year. So I can say, chill, and see if you disagree with this. If I said that this was Donovan Mitchell's best season he's ever had, most impactful season he's had so far, is that too much?
No, I don't think it's too much because I actually thought it was the year that he didn't make first team All Pro, the year that both Luka and you and I have gone back and forth with this, both Luka and SG. I thought that was his best season because everything that he did that year, he didn't do anything like that in Utah, not at all. But this season right here, I mean, he's way more efficient. I think he's a better distributor. I think he's reading defenses even better than he did last year or the year before that. In terms of his playmaking and in terms of his shot creation, I feel like it's gotten crisper. I think it's gotten crispier. I think it's just even more potent now, considering who he is. And I feel like the game has slowed down for him. I think he's way more confident, not just his three ball straight ahead. I think he's way more confident in his offense. And I think that works. I think that works in certain areas, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to move away from what everybody else is doing, because if I move away from what everybody else is doing, then we get back into the idea of you just being in front of us, and with you being in front of us, we can slow you down, and we're not concerned with the rest of these guys. That's why I feel like the rest of these guys have to pick it up. But he's been nothing short of fantastic this year. We had a conversation earlier, Swipa, about first team All Pro. If he was ever deserving of being a first-team All-Pro, I think this is the year that it is. If he was ever deserving of it. Yeah,
there's definitely a possibility, Chill. Like, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at him around the league right now. Like, I pushed back against you with Donovan Mitchell last year. I just think he, relative, but, dude, this is crazy, Chill. 11 threes a game this year for Donovan Mitchell. Like, he's basically saving their offense. Yeah, it's been great. Yes, sir. Chill, do you want to get to another guest? You want to go to another topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. SSE, you ready?
Yes, sir.
In the background, you ready, brother? Bringing you up.
What up?
Yo.
What up, bro?
What up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You hot.
All right. Now, what I want to talk about is the Hogs. I know everybody keeps talking about Trae Young needs to get traded and everything like that. And my thing is, like, I don't understand the logic behind that. For instance, like, who we going to trade Trae Young for, one? And then the second question is, like, I don't think people are watching our offense. Like, y'all don't see our half-court offense right now. Like, I think we like the 15th ranked offense with the team we have. If you put Trae Young back in the mix, we're easily top 10, potentially close to top 5 offense. Like, we'll lose some on defense, but our half-court offense, and you got players like Risha Shea, Dyson Daniels, they're struggling this year. You put Trae Young in there, it's going to be a lot easier. Like Jalen Johnson, he's doing a good job running the offense in the half-court, but, I mean, we know Trae's like top 5 passer and playmaker in the league.
When you have something like that on your unit, you can only get better. Now, don't get me wrong. I was a fan of when Trae Young goes out of the lineup because I did see it in stretches. And this is how it gets skewed, because I saw it in stretches that Dyson Daniels was actually good in stretches when he got moved over to the 1. But Trae is your lead guard. Let's not act like Trae is not your lead guard. Trae is your lead guard. He's your best distributor. He's your best passer. He's your best playmaker. The difference is the shot selection kind of throws the offense off. So people see that. And on top of that, we're in a space now. I think we're going into year 7 where we've probably seen, I don't think we've seen the best of Trae, but I feel like we've seen a side of Trae where, all right, is this it? This is all we're going to get from him with this group? So I think that this is the most talented group that he's been with. He hasn't played with them long. And the fact that they've been playing well and they've been winning, immediately the consensus is, well, we don't need him. That's immediately the consensus.
But I don't understand that because, one, he's never had this kind of team. So you can't say you don't need him if he's never been with this kind of team, right?
Sure.
So you got to at least see that first. And two, I mean, I do think we might have seen the best of him. Like the 22 season, I think he should have been first team All-NBA. But I don't know if we're going to get that again. But the shot selection, I mean, he can just adjust with that. He puts an effort on defense. His shot selection has always been bad, but he's not going to take as many shots as he did like the previous years.
But I feel like this is a broken record. But his shot selection, I mean, he could adjust to that. And him on defense, he could complete more. It sounds like it's the same thing over and over again. Like we're still talking. We're in year 7 now with him. Like this isn't year 2 or year 3. Like we're in year 7 now. This is probably who he is. in terms
but
of his
he
shot
ain't-
selection, in terms of
he's
his
never
defense.
had
He's
a
not going
team
to
like
turn
this,
into an
though.
all-league defender. He's not going to turn into a more efficient shot creator. No, this is probably who he is.
Yeah, but he never had this kind of team. Not even close.
And with that being said, which is fair, he's still taking bad shots when he was on this crew. It's not like when he got with this
What
crew,
was that, 4
automatically
games?
his offense changed.
Yeah,
And
but
they
you
weren't
judging that
rolling.
off 4 games.
It wasn't like they were rolling. Like with him out of the lineup, the offense wasn't as good. With him out of the lineup, the distribution was better. With him out of the lineup, the offense actually was better. That kind of stuff was going on. So I can see it from both sides, but I'm not ready to get off Trae Young yet. I would like to see a little bit more of him before I'm stamping what I think about this Atlanta team. So good to talk to you though, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Trey, that's a tricky one. And
Yep.
Chill, that kind of leads us into our next topic that we're going to talk about here today. But so right now, if you're kind of gauging the Giannis talks, Chill, for Brian Windhorst, he said, I've surveyed executives on their views on Antetokounmpo since the summer, and there's definitely a bit of trepidation about committing potentially $300 million through his mid-30s, Chill. And brother, Chill, I'm not going to lie to you, that sounds ridiculous to me. That sounds ridiculous to me.
I think that's where we disagree, Swiper. And the reason why I think that's where we disagree, because I do understand it on some level. Here's why. Now, I know what you're looking at with Giannis, and I know that I went on a campaign earlier this season that I'm going to start talking about Giannis more and more because I don't think people know how good this guy really is. I can appreciate that. But remember, he is hurt now. He did miss the playoffs 2 years ago. He has been in and out of the lineup. His game is basically flight and athleticism and brute force. And that kind of wanes as I get older. And if I'm paying him $300 million over the next 5 years, what is he going to look like at age 35? What's he going to look like at age 34, at age 35? I can understand some of it. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it, but I do understand the concerns. 100% I do.
So are you of the mindset that you're not, so he's going to be eligible for I think another deal that's going to be around the $275 million. So yeah, he'll be eligible for a 4-year, 275 extension. The same thing as Anthony Davis, and that SGA just signed, and Jokic will be able to sign next summer. So are you saying that you'd be hesitant to sign
I'd be a
him to
little
that deal?
apprehensive. I would be a little apprehensive. Yeah, and here's why. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it, Swiper, but I would be a little bit apprehensive. Not as much as I would with Anthony Davis, but with Giannis, I would be a little bit apprehensive off the strength of seeing what I'm seeing. I'm thinking down the road. I'm thinking 34, 35, 36 years old. All right, well, what am I getting from Giannis? I ain't talking about right now. I ain't talking about 31, 32, 33. I'm talking about when we get into his mid-30s, when that Father Time logic starts to show up, when he starts to slow down. All right, what am I getting from him at that point? So basically what I would be doing with Giannis is if I did that in terms of that long-term deal, I'm basically paying I'm paying him, Swiper, for these next 3 years. That's the window. Because when we get to 35, when we get to 36, I think it's going to be a little bit. I think Giannis is going to be a little bit different in terms of his game. I don't think I'm going to see the same guy that I saw. I think that's around the time when he's going to start to slow down. So if I'm doing this window that I have where he's 31 I got 3 years to make this work. So I would be a little bit apprehensive, but then I would have to go into it with that kind of business plan that we got 3 years to make this work.
He's making 54 this year. He's making 58 the following season. Then he has a player option for 62. So if he signed the extension, that player option would go away, and basically it would be $68 million in 2027, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30, and then 2030, 31. And so essentially through that juncture, Giannis would be carried into his 33, 34, 35, 36, like 37 years old range.
Man.
But Chill, I mean, at some point though, it's kind of also to me like, let me ask you this, how many players would you give that supermax to at this point? Like, which players of your mind are no doubt I'm paying them 275 over the next 5-6 years?
SGA. There aren't many guys that I'm thinking that I'm like, I'm gonna pay these guys. So I would say SGA. I would go Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey. Let's see. I would go Giannis, but I would just there'd be some trepidation and there would definitely be some concern there, but I would do it with Giannis. Yes, I would. I think at some point, in the next year or 2 years, I think Josh Giddey's going to be a supermax player too.
What, brother? You're high on Josh Giddey, man. Like I
love Josh Giddey. I love him. I love Josh Giddey. I think that he's my lead guard of the future. I 100% believe that this is a guy that I could build my unit around and we could get better. And I think what got screwed up, Swipa, what got screwed up is this Bulls team is in a rebuild. But because they started the way that they started, everybody got wrapped up in, yo, we can win and we can do it. No, this is who this team really is. They're really a 8 to 10, maybe 8 to 11, and they're rebuilding. And they're rebuilding with Josh Giddey, Basellis, and Kobe White. That's who they really are, with Josh Giddey at the helm. But like I said, guys like Josh Giddey, I'm paying Shea that. I'm paying Anthony Edwards that. Amin Thompson. I think I'm going to the max with him too, because I love everything about him and building around him. Wemby. Even with the injury history,
whose injury issues are you more worried about, Wemby or Giannis?
Giannis, because he's older. I think I could get more years out of Wemby. I think I've gotten, in terms of physical years, I think I've gotten the best out of. I still think I got a couple of more years, maybe 2 or 3 more years of him at this level physically. In terms of athleticism, Wemby, barring injury, I'm hoping that I could get a decade out of him. So I would. You said
that you do Josh Giddey, but Anthony Edwards didn't come up there.
Anthony Edwards too, yes, sir. I was going to say him next, actually. Yes, I would go with Jokic. Jokic doesn't have an injury history with me.
Okay, Luka, are you worried about you're concerned about the lower body injuries?
I am concerned about that, but I would do it with Luka too. I would.
Okay, so then
I may not go to be honest with you, Swiper, I may not go as far as 5 years with Luka. I may go 5 with an option at the 4 with Luka. I don't know but it has nothing to do with his game, because I mean, in terms of his game, I still think he's the best scorer in the game. I don't think that there's a better scorer in the game than him, and that includes SGA. And we've actually had this conversation. But there aren't many guys that I would go that far with, to answer your question. No, there aren't.
Chill, you want another guest?
Yeah, sure. Bring them up.
Yeah, we got 3 on the way that are in the waiting room. Liam, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What up, Liam? What you want to talk about, brother?
What's up, brother?
What up? How you doing, Chill?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. I want to read you off a couple stat lines, and I want you to tell me who this is. Right? 19-7-4, 14-2-5, 27-6, 21-3-5, 21-2-3, 16-6-2.
I'm drawing a blank, brother.
That's Jeremiah Fears in the last couple of games. I think we have been talking a lot about Derek Queen, obviously, because he's been playing phenomenally. And, all the talk around the pick and everything, that we have been neglecting Jeremiah Fears. And
I don't know if we're neglecting a guy who was a lottery pick. I think that the biggest issue is the fact that New Orleans is as bad as they are, and Derek Queen has been playing the way Derek Queen has been playing. He looks like he's the franchise guy. That's probably why.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I also do want to say I don't think we should trade Trey.
Just don't give him to the Warriors. Because they ain't giving you nothing for him. By
Trae Young?
No, Trey Murphy.
Oh, Murphy.
He's a big Murphy. This is a New Orleans guy. And just so you know, Swiper, Liam comes here. This is his therapy session because he's a New Orleans guy. So when he comes here, this is almost like him being on the couch and breaking up the notepad to discuss.
I'm on top of the world right now. Over the past 3 days, I've seen Lakers fans and Warriors fans crash out because we won't give them Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, and we beat Portland. I'm on top of the world. I don't think we should trade Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy and Derek Queen play very well together. And with Trey Murphy still being as young as he is on such a good contract, unless someone is offering you a Desmond Bane type trade, there's no reason to trade him.
What's the timeline with this group? Like, how long has Trey been on your roster now? Where are we with Trey? I think we're in year what?
21 draft.
Yeah, Trey's been on the roster.
So we're going into year 5
year
now.
4. Yeah, this is year 5.
Hmm.
Trey Murphy being 25, and he is on a contract that stays relatively cheap. Herb Jones is the contract where it gets dicey, because right now he's making good money. But once you get down to like when he's in 29, 30, 31 range, he starts making $21 million for someone that's about to be leaving their prime.
So the contract is front loaded.
Yeah.
I could get with that. And
so
I think
Jones being older.
I think he's the asset, though. I do.
Yeah,
I think he's the asset that everybody's after. Yeah.
Him, Bay, and like I've been seeing Misi and Jose Alvarado a lot are the main ones that people are going for. To me, if your name is not Fears, Queen, Trey, Carlo, and McGowan's has been playing out of his mind recent. If your name is not any of those, you're on the block.
Well, who are you building this unit around in your estimation?
Queen.
So he's the guy. Queen is the guy that you're building this unit around. Queen is the guy you're building this unit around.
Non-negotiable. You're not touching them.
Do you feel like you got your lead guard in Fears?
Yes.
So you got your lead guard in Fears, right? You got your lead guard in Fears. And Fears is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Swipe, I think Fears went to Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. So you got your lead guard, in Fears. You got your big in Derek Queen. All right. So Trey Murphy, 25 years old. He's been there for 5 years. Herb Jones, I mean, I think y'all went to the playoffs in 2023. Y'all was in 24.
2020, yeah, 2024.
When y'all had Valanciunas. All right. So now we're in a space where if we're building this around both Fears, around Queen and Fears, we got to build it around these guys where it's conducive to their games. I don't think that Trey Murphy's game meshes with Queen. And the reason why is because he needs the basketball. I want to run my offense through Queen. And I want Fears as my primary ball handler. So I need some more dirty work guys.
I agree, but Trey has flaws that require Queen. Trey can't put the ball on the floor. Trey's not very good mobily. He's a catch and shoot and then get back on defense.
That's why we need our draft pick, so we can draft a young guy and
we have our draft picks.
That's why we needed our draft pick.
This one. After 2026, we own all of our draft capital. 2026 is the only one that we're missing.
Which is kind of interesting considering that you don't. I mean, you end up losing on a draft that's one of the best drafts of the decade. So that's really interesting. But Liam, we got to go, brother. Good to talk to you, though, my man. I appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Liam. Yeah, Chill, that Pelican situation is definitely going to be interesting. Jeremiah Fears, by the way, I think became the youngest center ever with a 30-point triple-double this week. So he's absolutely frying and cooking right now. So that's great by him. Chill, sure. Did you want to move on to the next topic, or did you want to bring another guest on? Okay, move on to the next topic. Let's do it. All right, y'all. Well, we got some big news. It is official. Victor Wembanyama is back. He is back. He will be playing tonight in the NBA Cup versus the OKC Thunder in Las Vegas. Now, Victor Wembanyama has been sidelined since November 14th due to a calf strain. They have absolutely been taking the very careful route with Victor, as they should. But Chill, just to remind the people that Victor Wembanyama, when he was playing basketball this year, 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists, 50% from the field, 35% from three, 86 from the line, while also in this season having, I think, 4 blocks a game, 3.6, and a steal a game as well. He comes back to play his first game since injury versus OKC. Chill, how do you think this is going to go?
I think it's going to go well. I'm just nervous about I'm nervous about this calf injury thing. I've always been one of those people that there's 2 injuries that I don't play around with. It's the calf and it's the heart. And until you feel like you are legit, and until you feel like you can go, I want you to sit on the sideline for as long as possible. And like calf strains, I think that they usually take about I don't know, 5 weeks or so, 5 to 6 weeks or so. And I know that they wouldn't put him out there unless he was ready, but I've heard organizations say things like, we're going to leave this up to you to see how you feel. That stuff kind of worries me, because a lot of times guys just want to get back on the floor, and it doesn't even matter if they even feel like they're ready. They just want to get back out there. But I just think that Wemby, he gives them such a different dynamic that they didn't have. Wemby's not a great screener, that's fine, but he's great in the pick and pop. He's great at the nail. He's great at the rim. He's great on defense. He's not a great post defender, but what he doesn't do in the post, he makes up for that as a rim protector. I think he's become an even better rebounder, which now can speed them up and make them even faster than what they already were. And now I get an opportunity to see both him and Fox full time if he's as healthy as I hope that he is. And he just gives them a dynamic that they didn't have in the past. And I just think this makes them even more potent.
So when you look at the Spurs this year, Chill, who do you feel like has been their second best player this season?
Outside of Wemby, I think it's Fox. Yes, I'm on record saying that I think that when Fox comes back from injury, I thought that they were going to just be so much better. I love everything about what Fox has been doing. I think Fox is averaging like 24 a game, 24, 5 and 5, something like that. And with Fox doing everything that he's doing as a pick and pop, as a not just a pick and pop, but as a distributor, putting so much pressure on the defense and putting a lot of pressure on offenses too as a defender, I think that he's done so much for this group that it would be pretty difficult for me. As good as Harper has been, as good as Castle has been, I think that it would be much more difficult for them if they didn't have Fox. I think Fox is their second best player.
Yeah, man, Fox has been cooking this year. He's averaging 24 and 6 assists and 4 rebounds this season. He's played 16 games as well. So he's cooking, man. Like, I really am excited to see how this team is going to play and perform, Chill. Do you have what is your expectations for tonight? Do you think it's going to be a game with OKC in the semifinal?
They've been steamrolling everybody. And I feel like that they're in such a groove right now. Wemby getting back in the lineup against these guys, I think it's going to be tough on him. I think he can give me some real good minutes, but I just think that this Oklahoma City team is in such a groove that it's kind of like you're in the way of what they're doing right now. Until they lose, I just feel like that they're in such a groove. They're so connected on defense. I expect Wemby to be solid. I expect Wemby to knock down some shots early. I expect to see Wemby do some things on defense, but he hasn't played in over a month. So I do expect him to get winded. And sure, you can try to simulate this sort of stuff in practice. You can simulate scrimmages, but it's nothing like games, right? It's nothing like when I actually get out there. And we're in the semifinals of the Cup tournament. So, I mean, the stage is even bigger. So I think that those nerves with Wemby, I think that they'll be, definitely heightened. And I think that could, disturb some of his win. However, I feel like with this Oklahoma City team, they're so locked in, and I think that they're all on the same page and so connected. I expect them to handle San Antonio tonight. I would be surprised if they smoked them like they did Phoenix by like 40 or 50. I'm not going that far, Swipa, but I do expect them to handle San Antonio tonight.
Like double digit win.
I think this could be. I think they can handle them. This could be a 15 to 18 point game. I do expect them to do that. Yeah,
that's crazy. So you ready for the next guest?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, big fan Breezy. Hope you ready. Yo, you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
What up, bro?
It's Brooklyn in the house, without a doubt.
Yo, shout out to Chill, shout out to Swiper. You know what I'm saying? It's good seeing y'all, man. What's up, y'all?
Man, we living, bro.
Running good, brother. Running good.
I just wanted to say I'll be kicking up dust. MPJ way better than Cam Johnson for one. Let me just get that out the way. That transition from third or fourth option to first option seamlessly, nothing but smooth. You know what I'm saying? He looking like an all-star. Cam Johnson could never. So y'all gotta deal with that. But Chill. Also, I watched the panel. I sent a super chat, you know what I'm saying, yesterday. Swiper and Penn answered it. I said, Swiper. I couldn't write his name, but I know he's a Jokic fan. So I said, they calling Danny Wolf the Jewish Jew. They just totally like bypassed what I said, started talking about Sagoon and all of these other players that you could contrast to Jokic. Danny Wolf put up 17 and 7 last night off the bench. I'm just saying, I know that the Brooklyn Nets don't have no big media. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no personalities. Y'all like one of the biggest platforms. I know y'all don't be watching the games. Y'all was watching the Washington Wizards and the Pistons before.
I'd be lying to you if I said I was watching Brooklyn. I'm not watching.
Yo, we don't get chill. We don't get no light. And all I'm saying is, out of these rookies, chill. Pay attention, please. Pay attention to Danny Wolf. You know the other ones, they looking like they need work. I'm not gonna front. But Danny Wolf was looking like something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Breezy, I told you before with these 5-1s, like you got to hit on one of them. One of them got to pan out, right? We can't miss on all of these guys. Yeah, we one of them has to pan out. And it sounds to me like as of today, it sounds like Wolf is the guy that you like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like the guy is. Wolf is him.
He's chill. He a shot creator. He could score the ball, and they compare him to Jokic because of his handle and his passing prowess. He's definitely somebody that could find guys. But yeah, I wanted to say that. But to the title of the show, chill. Yeah, I think they are in trouble. I think the Cavs are in big trouble. I don't see them coming out the East. They looking like they discombobulated, you know what I'm saying? They're not at the top of the East, and they just don't look like they got the it factor to get them past the Pistons, the Knicks. Shit, I heard they lost to the Celtics not too long ago, or somebody. So,
they lost to the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? So
no Curry, no Draymond, no buckets, and they lost to them dudes at home. By the way, Mobley was available, Darius Garland was available. Donovan Mitchell was on the floor. I mean, they had their crew, and to lose to them dudes, it just goes back to what I said. I mean, I could give you a number of different things that I've said about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would just be repeating myself, but it ultimately boils down to these guys ain't serious. They not. These dudes are not serious. No, they not. If y'all was serious, if you guys were serious, this thing would go a lot. It would be a lot smoother than what it is. I think that teams like Detroit, I think that they've established an identity. I mean, you saw what they did to Atlanta last night. They basically imposed their will on Atlanta last night. Like you see what Oklahoma City did to Phoenix, smoking them by 40. You can look at teams like that and tell these dudes ain't playing. These dudes are dead serious, right? When you look at Cleveland, and I've been advocating for Cleveland. Swipe and I have been going back and forth about Cleveland for years because I've been advocating for them to take that step, and they've been moving forward. And I'm talking about years now. But here we are in year 4 that I've been advocating for this group and where I thought that they would be, and they still seem like just one of the teams. They haven't separated themselves. Like it's almost like I feel like watching them, and maybe I'm pretty confident I'm in the minority, but watching them, I feel like what Memphis was supposed to be is what Oklahoma City turned into. I feel the same way about Cleveland. I feel like what Detroit is turning into, that's what Cleveland should have been. And I feel like Detroit is bypassing them right now. That's why I feel like they're not serious.
So just to leave off, chill. First off, thank you for having me on the show. Do you contribute some of that to JB Bickerstaff? Because you know he got fired from Cleveland and now he's on Detroit. So do you see that in the playoffs, like a Detroit taking out the Cavs, you know what I mean, type of thing?
There was a part of me that was looking at Bickerstaff as maybe a gap coach, and with the coach at Cleveland, I was like, well, he was already on that Golden State Warriors staff when he won the NBA championship, so he knows what it takes to get to the NBA championship and winning. And maybe just Bickerstaff is just maybe that bridge coach, when in reality, Coach Bickerstaff doesn't look like a bridge coach. He looks like the actual coach that can get you to where you're trying to go. He 100% believes that. So could this be, I mean, don't get me wrong, Cleveland beat them earlier in the year, but excuse me, if I see them right now side by side, one team is clearly better than the other. One team is clearly playing better than the other team. They're tougher than them. I think their offense is more fluid. I think that they're more determined, and I think they're more precise in what it is that they're doing. When I look at this Cleveland team, I see a lot of disconnect with this group, and that's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done at all. So good to talk to you, Fan Breezy. I know where to find you at, my dude.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, Brody. Sir. Yeah, chill. Definitely interesting situation. Do you know right now at 20-5, the Detroit Pistons, they're on pace to win over 60+ games this year. Do you think they crack 60 wins?
If they could keep doing what they're doing, yeah, I think they can get to 60 wins. Sure,
60
absolutely.
wins at 2 years after what they did 2 years ago, man, that would be
crazy.
That'd be incredible. What a turnaround.
Remember too, Swipa. Remember that when Bickerstaff got over there, it wasn't more of a personnel change than it was a mindset. I mean, you being a football guy, when you walk into that locker room and see a bunch of guys that are used to losing, like the talent is there, but you walk in there and there's a bunch of guys that are used to losing. We got to change that mindset. We got to get these guys thinking about winning. Because all they thinking about, I mean, we lost almost 30 straight games. The year before that, we weren't good. So when he walks in there, I'm looking at a bunch of guys who all they think about is losing. I got to change that mindset. And I feel like Coach Bickerstaff has changed that.
All right, Joe, you ready for the next topic?
Let's do it. What we got?
All right. Well, we got more news around the NBA, man. This was something I was not expecting this year, but knueppel has been absolutely a monster this year. He had 33 points just the other day. Joined LaMelo Ball is the only Hornets rookie with 30 points, 5 assists, and 5 threes in a game. And just for context, everybody that has not gotten a chance to watch this year, knueppel has probably been the best rookie in the NBA just from the start to finish. He's averaging 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, 47% from the field, 40% from three on 8.5 attempts a game, and 91.5% from the free throw line, which for a rookie is utterly incredible, Chill. Did you see doing anything like this? And can you see him, if they continue to play like this and he continues to have these moments where he's putting up 30 and the efficiency is there and he just looks like a veteran, is he going to take the Rookie of the Year award away from Cooper Flagg this year?
The thing that I really am excited about watching knueppel is his basketball IQ. He's a lot smarter for a rookie than I thought. I mean, yeah, I should have expected that considering he went to Duke, right? So it shouldn't be something that I'm surprised at, but his feel for the game and his know-how seems far more advanced than the rookie. Like I watched it. There was a play last night where he's on the right wing and he gets to the break. Well, with him getting to the break, the defense closes out on him. He doesn't get off the ball yet because the defense is still shifting. He gets off the ball. He gets off the ball to, let's see, he gets off the ball to Bridges. While he gets off the ball to Bridges, he just relocates like maybe 2 or 3 feet a little bit further to the right because the defense is already shifting. Now they got to make up even more ground, and Bridges fires it back to him. He's wide open for 3 and cracks it. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I look for when I'm looking for guys who understand the game, the know-how. I was looking at, when I first watched him, I was like, I mean, maybe he could be Luke Kennard, maybe just a better athlete. That's what I was thinking. But, I mean, his ability to put the ball on the floor, I didn't know that he had that in his game. His ability to shoot the basketball in the clutch, because there have been games where Charlotte has played, because I do watch Charlotte, because as you guys know, I'm a Kalkbrenner fan. I dig the kid. I dig the big kid from Charlotte, so I do watch Charlotte games. His ability to put the ball on the floor, I was not aware of that. And I like the fact that he can finish around the rim. I like his pull-up game. I was not expecting him to be this good, Swiper. I was not. And if it ended today, I think he's the Rookie of the Year. I don't think that there's a rookie who played better than him. I had Trey Johnson before the season started because I thought that where we are in the league, being the long ball shooter that Trey Johnson is, he would come in, he'd fit right in with that Washington team, and he would just crack the long ball with the best of them. And it looked good early on in the season, but knueppel has just been nothing short of fantastic. I think he's the Rookie of the Year, and I think he'd win it going away, to be honest with you, Swiper.
Yeah, I do think this says something about like that, the fact that you have a rookie that has become that kind of offensive threat, where as a spot up shooter, whether it's coming off DHO, whether it's coming off those pin downs, and we love talking about screens here. But one of the things that they do really well with him is they will run these go screens at the end of the games where, I know this is frustrating for you. He'll come and set like a fake screen or whatever else it is for the ball handler. He'll just kind of leak out in the middle of nowhere, and then he just gets these wide open looks because of its gravity, but also it's just rare, Chill, that you can just force, especially in the clutches you're talking about, or even just like late quarters, late into the second quarter, going into the fourth quarter and the third. you can just find really valuable looks for Khan, and you can generate really good offense with him. And I think that gives LaMelo Ball like a lot of freedom as a passer. And then obviously, shout out to KJ Simpson and the rest of them, man. They got a couple of players on that roster that are actually performing really well, that are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what I'm seeing from the Charlotte unit, to be quite honest with you, Swipa. And I think that they have something. He looks like a foundational piece for what they're trying to do moving forward. And I like it. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Ready to get to the next guest?
Who you got?
Man, we got a crowd favorite. We got a PC favorite. Mr. Cowboy Bob. What's up, brother?
Yes, afternoon. How you guys doing, man? Salute to you, man. Yo, Swiper, I didn't know you had 15 jobs. You sure you're not Jamaican?
Hey, bro, I'm everywhere, man. I'm all the time. Any sport, bro. Next thing you know, I'm about to be on cricket, bro. So never sleep, bro. I'm always cricket.
Hey, be careful with that. But remember what I told you about Allen. That's what's wrong with the Cavs. The Cavs have not had a healthy Allen all season to where they can help him out. Like, if you really look at this team, they're built around Donovan Mitchell, but it's also Allen. When it comes to the defense, when it comes to the rim protection, when it comes to the rebounding, he has a way of getting them involved even when they're down, and a way of motivating them just by being on the court. I have no issue. I still believe the Cavs are one of the best teams. I still have them as a top 3 team in the East. But if they get Allen back, and they also lost a lot of their 3-point shooting, not saying that they can't shoot the 3 ball. The attempts ain't there unless it's just Donovan Mitchell. Like I used to see last season, they used to pass the ball more. People were willing to take more 3-ball shots. Now it looks a little bit more ISO heavy for me, and it looks more like if Donovan ain't got y'all going, y'all ain't going nowhere. It's like basically what they did was they went back to Utah as opposed to playing the way he did, free flowing. But I think the Cavs are really good. I just think that they need Allen back, and they'll be fine. But I also just want to say thank you guys for allowing me to talk. But that was just my point. I want to stay on one topic, not always the Knicks. But go New York, go, and you guys have a good one.
His point, by the way, the Cleveland right now, they're taking the 3rd most threes in the league on percentage-wise, 48% of their shots. But to your point, Cowboy Bob, they're 3rd worst in the NBA in shot conversion from 3-point line, chill. So they are not hitting those threes.
At the bottom of the league.
They were a lot better last year. Like it looked more consistent a part of their game. Now it's just they're just going out missing. But all right, guys, I'll see y'all later.
I'm good to talk
Thanks,
to you.
man.
Absolutely.
All right, bro.
Swiper, just because you at the top of the league in attempts, that doesn't work, man. I mean, we shooting the long ball a lot. That's like a quarterback. You know, you throwing a lot of passes, you throwing a lot of interceptions too. You're throwing a lot of incompletions. That doesn't help. No. So I mean, the fact that Cleveland is shooting the long ball, that's goes back to what I was talking about to you earlier about this team relying on Donovan Mitchell as much as they do. Like guys like Porter, guys like Tyson, guys like Sam Merrill, guys like Dean Wade, who are supposed to stretch the defense, not necessarily at the long ball line, but just stretch the defense and make the defense be more respectful. But it's not. It's either Donovan Mitchell or Donovan Mitchell. And Evan Mobley will get you buckets, no doubt about that. He will get me buckets, but I mean, I'm on record saying it. I feel like I'm a broken record. This team isn't serious. They're not. I do think that they could be a top 3 seed. I do think that they could be a top 5 seed, but this team ain't serious right now. No, I don't see it.
Yeah. All right, ready for the next topic, chill.
What you got?
All right. So the NBA.com, by the way, which is one writer, NBA.com, their poll came out for who they think the MVP is right now. So from 10-1, the top 10 MVP players currently are Alperen Şengün at 10, Anthony Edwards at 9, Tyrese Maxey at 8, Austin Reeves at 7, Jalen Brunson at 6, Jaylen Brown at 5, Cade Cunningham at 4, Luka Doncic at 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 2, and then Nikola Jokic at 1. So when you look at these MVP rankings, chill, how close do you actually think the MVP race is right now?
Unfortunately, when I look at it, I do think it's a 3-man race. I think it's SGA, Yoke, and I think it's Luka. But I think that the separation, which is what it's always been, especially in the past when I've seen MVP votes, it's been about winning. Like a lot of people will say that with this group in particular, that Joker, he ended up winning the league MVP. They were a 6th seed. I think that was an anomaly. What Joker did that year was something that hadn't been seen in decades. what he had done when Russ won the league MVP, when Oklahoma City had won, when he won the league MVP with Oklahoma City, they were a 6th seed. What he had done hadn't been seen in decades. So winning has always been the benchmark for winning the league MVP. And a guy like SGA, what he's been doing for this group, even though what Joker is doing in terms of production is almost unmatched. I mean, he's having a better season statistically than he did last year. And there's some people who thought he should have won the league MVP last year. And this year, he's actually having a better season than what he did last year from an efficiency standpoint, from a rebounding standpoint. I mean, he's just been nothing short of fantastic. But it's very difficult to justify when you got a team that's on pace to win 70+ games and they not win the league MVP. Swiper, you and I have gone back and forth when you told me about Jordan. I'm sorry, when you told me about Barkley winning the league MVP in '93, and it actually should have went to Jordan. I think that they won. I want to say that they won 57 games that year. They finished 3rd in the East, and the Phoenix Suns finished first. And they won 62 games, and they may have gotten it wrong. I'm in the mode of in '97. That's the year that Malone won it. I think Jordan should have won it that year. They won 69 games that year, in addition to what Jordan was doing. I mean, they ended up winning 69 games that year. They were rolling. So I think that this is a 3-man race. I think I'm looking at something similar to what happened in the 1962 season, where we could have guys like Elgin Baylor when he went 38-18, he finished 4th. I think we could see something like that with this. I think we can see something like that with this MVP race in particular, because the league is just so littered with talent, and the teams that are at the top of the league, those guys are so good. And not only are those guys so good, there's one guy like Alperen Sengun is at the bottom of that list at 10. And the only reason why he's at the bottom, because he missed some games. But Houston is still, I think, 3rd in the Western Conference, and he's been great with them. He's been fantastic with them. Tyrese Maxey, I mean, we've seen what he's doing. So I feel like with the MVP race, I think it's a 3-man race, and I think it's SGA and Joker, and then I think it's Luka.
Yeah. So right now, the Thunder are obviously on pace to win 75, 74 games or whatever. The Nuggets are on pace to win 62 games this year. SGA this season, he's averaging 32.6 points, 6.5 assists, 4.6 rebounds. So basically 33, 4 or 5 and 7 this season. He's shooting incredible, 45% from 3, 56% from the field, 88% from the line. Jokic is averaging 29.5, 12, and 10.9, which is so 30, 12, and 11. He's shooting 62% from the field, 42% from 3, and 85% from the line. I think it's just, it's funny because the SGA is just, he's seemingly leveling up every single year, and he is just continuing to play crazy, crazy level. And, he's just become like a indomitable scorer, and he's obviously like a good defender for a guard as well. Like, he just does a lot of things super well, and I think that this MVP race is going to be interesting, because I do want to know, Chill, if the Nuggets win 60+ games and then they win 70+ games, like, that's going to be tough. We're kind of back in where we were in 2015-16, where, Kawhi Leonard and Steph Curry were going at it.
Yes, and on top of that, to have Joker have the kind of season that he's having, just like Kawhi Leonard did, for Joker to have the kind of season that he's having, and for the Denver Nuggets, who, I if I'm not mistaken, Swipe, I think they're in 2nd place right now in the Western Conference.
Yeah, 18-6.
Yeah, they're in 2nd place in the conference. With them being in 2nd place in the conference, if they end up winning 65 games, you know how hard it is going to be to keep, with Joker going 30, 12, and 11. You know how hard it's going to be to keep the league MVP away from him. Even if SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder end up winning 74, 75 games. Right. I can definitely appreciate that. To have a 10-game split between the two of them, that would probably be the difference. But I don't think that I've ever seen, even in my lifetime, I've never seen a guy on a team that won 60+ games, 65+ games, and have the efficiency that Joker's having, 30, 10, and 11, 30, 12, and 11 on that kind of efficiency, and not win the league and justify him not being the league MVP. Well, how can we justify him not being the league MVP? The only way is because, just so you know, there was a team that won 10 more games, and it was a guy that was averaging 35 or that was averaging 33, 6 and 5, and they were rolling. That's the only way you could justify that. You can't justify it any other way. You can't.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. Like in the last few years, bro, we've had like some crazy MVP runs this year.
Yeah.
Is this in your lifetime, at least you can remember, had this been the best era for like MVP races that you've seen? Or just go back to obviously in the 90s, there were some crazy runs with like obviously Malone and Barkley and Hakeem and Jordan that were all kind of peaking. David Robinson as well in the 80s, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, then Mike at the end of the decade. You know, you had a couple years sprinkled in there with like Isaiah Thomas never finishing like relatively high. I mean, I'm trying to think, man, like even in the 70s, Kareem, Big O. But this is wild, man. Like 2000s were close to as well, obviously.
Well, Swipa, in my lifetime, this is the only time that I can say that I wasn't sure each year. Like when I was younger, like 81, we kind of knew it was Doc or Jabbar, right? And then Magic and Bird showed up, and it was going to be either Magic or Bird winning the league MVP. And then after that, you know, Jordan showed up, and then it was kind of it's either Jordan's going to win it or Olajuwon's going to win it. Maybe, and then Malone got sprinkled in there. David Robinson was also in there too. Yeah. But in this era that I'm in, more than any era, this era that I've been in, I can't say that it's been more competitive. Like after 2020, when Giannis won it, I was looking at the landscape and I'm thinking to myself, who is the league MVP this year? Is it Curry? Is it James? Is it James Harden? There were a number of different guys that I can say that could have won the league MVP. Is it Joker? And I think that we're kind of leveling off where we got this kind of like Bird Magic thing, this Jordan Malone thing going on right now between both SGA and Joker, with another guy who in Luka is now involved in that. But previous to that, I mean, I felt like it could have been any one of these 4 or 5, 6 guys, KD or James or Curry, or it could have been one of those guys. So this is one of the more competitive eras, if not the most competitive era in terms of MVPs that I've seen.
You know, and just for the audience too that might not be aware, you know, Luka Doncic, Jill, almost in any other decade, you know, if you heard there was a player in the league that was averaging 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, you would just kind of be like, oh, well, just, you know, clearly like that's like the, you know, maybe the best player in the world. Is he getting washed out because he's just in the middle of 2 of the craziest primes that we've seen, and then Wemby is right behind him?
Luka is definitely in that unfortunate space right now, because to your point, in any other time, Luka could have multiple MVPs.
Yeah.
34, 9-9, 35, 9-8. I mean, he'd have multiple league MVPs, the number 2 seed, right? Number 1 seed, and number 2 seed. He'd have multiple league MVPs. But because we are where we are with how much better the teams are, how much better these guys are, how much more competitive these guys are today, I think that he's unfortunately getting overshadowed. And this goes back to my original logic when I talk about the 62 season where, I mean, Bob Pettit went 30, he went almost 30-20 that year, and he finished 5th in league MVP votes, right? He went 32-18 on ridiculous efficiency. So, I mean, when with a guy like Luka, it's important that when you get to my age, Swiper, 20 years from now, and people see what Luka was doing, they're just going to think that it was like, wow, what was this? Why didn't this guy win the league MVP? And it's going to be up to you to explain to them that this is what was going on during that time. And I can see that, you know, you're a little in a fog about Luka not being able to get busy enough. But yes, this is what was going on during that time, and it was justifiable too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Chill, you know, I think tonight is going to be a special evening. You know, we have some really, really good basketball games that we're headed in to see. The NBA Cup Semifinals is tonight, you all, and these should be some really, really great games. So obviously in the bracket championships, you know, we had the Spurs defeat the Lakers. We had the OKC Thunder defeat the Suns. Then we had the Orlando Magic, I think surprisingly, beating the Miami Heat, and then Toronto Raptors versus the New York Knicks. So we got the Knicks versus Orlando, OKC versus the Spurs. And in particular, Chill, I want to talk this Knicks-Orlando game for you, and obviously Cowboy Bob is no longer here. So when you look at this, what do you think the keys to the game are going to be today? Because Franz obviously is out. Orlando, I think, is in an interesting situation where they should be able to generate some good looks tonight. Their defense should be better, but Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, and by the way, Josh Hart, Chill, I don't know if you're aware, but Josh Hart, over the last, since he's been as a starter this year, he is going crazy this season.
He's a double-double guy, something like that?
Yeah, as a starter this year,
in the
y'all.
starting lineup.
So Josh Hart is started 9 games. He's averaging 17 points, 9.6 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 55 from the field, 45 from 3, and 87.5% from the free throw line as a starter this year. What do you think the keys of today's game are going to be?
I think it's going to be slowing him down. I think that he's going to be the difference in them winning and losing. Swipa, you just said it. So those 9, 10 rebounds, like 3 of them are offensive rebounds. These are second chance opportunities. And when you're dealing with an Orlando Magic team that's as good as they are defensively, when we get second chance opportunities to score, we can capitalize and we can capitalize on them. That gives us a better opportunity to win. So I think Josh Hart's going to be the difference in this game, because guys like Mikal Bridges, I think that Mikal Bridges has been one of the biggest beneficiaries of this Knick offense. I feel like Coach Mike Brown, I feel like he digs into his bench. I would like to see him dig a little bit deeper into his bench, and I'd like to see him not just dig a little bit deeper into his bench. I'd like to see him get with his bigger guys a little bit more, because when I look at his lineups, a lot of times I look at him going small. He'll dig in that bench and he'll go to guys like Miles. He'll go to guys like I have a difficult time saying this guy's last name, Diate.
Are you talking about for the Knicks?
Yes, for the Knicks. I have.
Here, I'll pull it up for you.
Guys like Kolick, like he won't even go to Kolick as much. Like he'll go to Mitchell Robinson, but I don't think that he goes to his bigs nearly as much, right? And Yabu Baselli is more of a dirty work guy, but he doesn't really offer a lot of size. He's like 6'6", something like that. But with that being said, I feel like they can capitalize on second chance opportunities. I think that's going to be the difference in the game tonight with Orlando, because Orlando does struggle to score, especially at the lead guard spot. As good as Jalen Suggs can be, I don't think that he gives them enough as a bucket getter. And now not having Franz in the lineup, I think that that's going to be the difference. Franz not being in the lineup and Josh Hart giving them second chance opportunities. I think that's going to be the difference in them winning, and I think the Knicks end up edging Orlando in this game tonight.
And are you talking the player you're referencing? Are you talking about Pacomi Diet?
That's him.
Okay.
Yes. That's him, the big guy that they have. Yes.
Yeah. So look, man, like the Knicks are good, dude. Like I think a lot of people Knicks fans, obviously really big on their team, but this team has been hooping this year, y'all. Like they're currently, if you look at dunks and threes, they're 4th in the NBA overall in net rating. The offense, if you look at dunks and threes, is number 2. You look at their defense, like it's not like great, but they're fighting and they're performing well. They're ranked 11th in dunks and threes and defense. Jalen Brunson having another great season this year. Karl Anthony Towns not playing as well as he was last year, but he's still having a really good season. They just have a lot of pieces to them, man. And I think that 2-man game, between Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, that's a real threat. JB's averaging 28 points a game and 6 assists this year. Yeah. Like that's monstrous, Chill.
He's been actually another beneficiary to that offense, because I think Mike Brown took the ball out of his hands as much as a ball stopper and more of a creator. And I think that he's created a lot more offense with that, as opposed to them just giving him the ball and just getting out the way. I don't think that was conducive to winning. And again, I still think that with him having the ball in his hands, I still think that they're a real potent offense, because I think that pick and dive offense between both him and Cat, it works. And they look for Cat in transition, and Cat is the best big man shooter in the game. I definitely feel that way. With him being the best big man shooter in the game, he just forces that defense. He just forces your defense to shift so much. So when you got guys like Paolo, who's been a little inconsistent as a bucket getter, particularly as a shooter, he just got back in the lineup. With him just getting back in the lineup, I think that this is a group that they could struggle offensively against this Knick team. So OG back in the lineup, I just think that this Knick team is better without having Franz. I think this Knick team is better.
And also want to make sure I give the Orlando Magic credit because same thing with dunks and threes right now. The Magic are 5th in net rating. They're currently 11th in offense and number 2 in defense. Do you foresee a world where Jalen Suggs gives Jalen Brunson a lot of issues today?
I do. As a defender, I think that he's been really good as a defender. I think he's great at beating guys to spots. His hands stay busy. But Jalen Suggs is not Jalen Suggs, I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson. He's so crafty.
Yeah.
And his ability to get to the rim, I think that he can overcome those problems. Because don't get me wrong, I do think Jalen Suggs is going to give him issues, and I do think he's going to make it really difficult on him. But Jalen Brunson is so smart as a bucket getter. He's so smart as a playmaker, so crafty. He's so good at maneuvering angles and things like that. I think he's maneuvering to angles. I think he's just so good at that. With him being that good, I think that gives Suggs even more problems because Suggs now is going to have to match that energy on the offensive end as a bucket getter. I'm not saying 30 or 25 or something like that, Swipa, but I do need him to give me more than 12 or 14. Because if he could give me 12 or 14 and give me good defense, okay, that's great. But you're not going to completely shut Jalen Brunson down. I haven't seen that yet. I would be very surprised if I saw that. But I do think, to answer your question, that he is going to give him problems. Yes.
By the way, a lineup to be looking forward to tonight: Tyus Jones, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., Desmond Bane, Anthony Black. They have a plus 34 net rating with that lineup. They have an 84.8 defensive rating when that unit goes out there. I think that Wendell Carter Jr., brother, and him. So Wendell Carter Jr. and Jonathan Isaac, you put those two together, your defense honestly should be able to take off in those lineups, man, because they have a 101 defensive rating when the both of them are on the floor together. Look, man, I'm telling you what, like the Magic, they started off slow. I know a lot of people were kind of down on Paulo. He's not having the craziest year, only averaging 20 or so this year, Chill.
Sure.
But I still think he's a super special player. Franz obviously not being there is going to matter a lot. But don't be surprised either, Chill, if Desmond Bane, man, like he's had like a really up and down year, in some ways. And, he had a streak of games for you scoring over 35 points. And on the season right now, he's sitting at 19, 4.5, and 4.5 rebounds, and he's shooting 45% from the field. So he's not like having the season that they build for him to have, but I still think he's a really good player. And this could be a special night for him tonight as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got busy. And I think that, to your point, when you ran down that lineup, one of the main reasons why that lineup is doing what it's doing is because of how Desmond Bane stretches the defense and how he makes them so much more viable. That allows guys like Anthony Black to get to the rim. That allows guys like Anthony Black to be a finisher around the rim. That allows guys like Wendell Carter, who I was pretty down on. In fact, I was almost out on Wendell Carter. He's been much better as a finisher around the rim. So to your point, yes, I think Desmond Bane gives them a different dynamic. And I do think that this game's going to be competitive. I just think that in the end, I think the Knicks edge them.
Hey, Chill, we got some super chats that we need to answer before we head out today. Cowboy Bob, $20 super chat, showing love as always. Said, "Hey Swiper, you're doing good defending my Knicks and talking about heart, but it's Bridges. Bridges for the month before last game was 50% from the field, 41% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. Wow, we win with OG. Cat is great. No trade for Giannis. Ario." How you say that?
Hukaporti. He's another one. Yeah, he's another one who needs to be playing more. Mm-hmm.
I agree, Chill. Go Knicks, go, Chill. Do you like that? Do you think that Mikal Bridges deserves more flowers this year?
I do. I think that he's been a huge beneficiary to what the Knicks have been doing offensively. I think that him playing in the mid-range, I think that that's super dope. Not just him playing in the mid-range, but him in transition. I don't give Mikal Bridges nearly enough credit for him being the defender that he is. He's fighting over screens, navigating screens a lot better than he has in the past. I think that the standard that I've held him to was what he was when he was in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. And I haven't seen that level of defense from Mikal Bridges since then, but he actually has been a really good defender. But as a mid-range jump shooter, as a relocator, as a corner three-point shooter, as a shooter from the break, I think that Mikal Bridges has been great. And on top of that, I think that his hands stay busy. I think that he's been really good for this offense. So I like what I'm seeing from him. Absolutely. Mikal Bridges he's been one of the biggest beneficiaries for this Knick group.
Love that. We got a $10 super chat from Eric Spinoza 7789. $10. What's up, fellas? What's y'all thoughts on tonight's OKC San Antonio game? In my opinion, I can see the Thunder and Spurs being the new Lakers versus Spurs in the early 2000s, barring injury, of course. How do you feel about that, Shield?
I would love to see that. Absolutely. I would, to be honest with you, I would have liked to have seen Kobe and Shaq stay together longer because with them staying together longer, I think that rivalry could have gotten extended. You know, when Kobe and Shaq broke up after the 2003-2004 season, it kind of ended what was going on between San Antonio. We got it back in the late 2000s with Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. We ended up getting it back, but it wasn't the same as it was when it was Bryant and Shaq and Robert Horry and those guys. Excuse me. Got something in my throat.
You're good. Look, I think for the super chat from Eric Spinoza, I do think there's a world where, because of the talent accumulation for the San Antonio Spurs, they are able to get to the point where they're pushing the OKC Thunder over the next few years. Now, obviously, if you've heard me, I've been a soundboard for Devin Vassell. I think Devin Vassell looks extremely good. I love his game. I think you add Dylan Harper to that with De'Aaron Fox, having Stephon Castle, having Jeremy Sohan, and then you add in Victor Wembanyama. One of the keys to this era is you have to have young talent that you drafted, young talent on rookie contracts. You got to stagger rookie contracts with having good talent that's paid on the roster, and then you got to have obviously a superstar, and they have that in Victor Wembanyama. So all that together, they absolutely can one day push OKC, but the thing with OKC, Chill, that makes them it's just different. They got Chet Holmgren at number 2 overall, and he was supposed to be billed as like the next guy in the draft. Then you get J-Dub, he becomes an all-NBA player in year 3. And then you get SGA, obviously, who morphs into this all-time great talent. But then you have a host of young players and players like Cason Wallace, Kenrich Williams, who's a veteran who's just sitting on the roster. And then you have a host of draft picks. They have Lou Dort. You have the money for Alex Caruso and the Josh Giddey trade. You got the money for Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. Maybe Luke Cornett is going to be the San Antonio Spurs version of Isaiah Hartenstein. The money they can spend at the center position to make sure Victor Wembanyama has another center next to him. So there's a world for them to be able to be in that conversation, but it's still going to be tough to maintain and keep up with OKC over the coming years.
Swiper, can you predict like the growth of guys like J-Dub? Can you predict the growth of guys like SGA in terms of how transcendent they were when they first got on Oklahoma City as opposed to today? Can we really can you forecast that? Or that's just, or is that just being lucky in addition to being good, but is that also being lucky?
I think, Chill, one of the things I always tell people is that why the draft is a crapshoot to me. You can be good at the draft, but what does that even mean? Like you're able to evaluate talent, and then you try to get guys in a room where you can sit them down, you can talk to them, you can listen to their ideology, you can listen to how they think about basketball. What makes you tick? Because remember, they ask some of the craziest questions in those draft eval rooms. Like, hey, what's in your backpack? Let us kind of see what's in there. What's in the world of you? What was your family like growing up? Did you have a good relationship with your teacher? They want to know everything about you because they're trying to understand what
your mother dated a pimp. How'd that go?
That was that Des Bryant? They asked him if years ago if his mom was like doing whatever. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's just there's so many things that go into it. So for J-Dub, for Chet, for SGA, hey, SGA, do you want to be the very best that's ever lived? A lot of players can say that, but SGA said, I'm going to put in the work. But as you know, this up here for basketball is a different thing. You really have to be a maniac to be a number 1 option in the NBA, because you basically got to say, I know I'm going to miss half, if not more of half of my shots. I'm still pulling. I know I'm not going to be able to make every pass. I'm going to turn the ball over. I'm still doing everything. I know that I'm not going to make every rebound. I got to fight for every rebound. I know I'm not going to get every stop. I'm going to act like I'm going to stop you on every single possession we play with each other. This is it takes a maniac to be great at something. So no, I don't think there's a way to predict SGA becoming SGA. I don't think there's a way to predict J-Dub becoming J-Dub. You have to get lucky, because Chill, growing up in Denver, we drafted so many guys that we said, this is going to be the guy. Emmanuel Mudiay in 2015. This is going to be the long-term point guard. He just didn't have it up here. It's that simple. And then you get a dude from Sombor, Serbia, 41 overall, drafted while he was sleeping during a Taco Bell commercial. Next thing you know, he's like, all right, I'm going to be the best thing you've ever seen. But nobody would have known that, Chill. I think you got to get lucky in the draft.
You do. You 100% do. No doubt about that.
So think about,
I can't disagree with you on that.
Like, you're obviously a big Hakeem fan. I thought Hakeem was crazy at Houston, but Chill, come on, bro. 1987, you make the NBA Finals? What's that? Year 3? You made the NBA Finals? Year 2?
86. Year 2.
Like, come on, man. Like, did you know he was going to be like that? Yeah, Houston, he was
No.
great. But I didn't think Hakeem was going to be Hakeem. No idea.
Not that good. No.
So, yeah,
Absolutely
Chill, I
not.
just think, it's a crapshoot. But look, I'm really proud of OKC. Their fan base deserves what they're getting right now because they went through a lot, obviously, in the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden years. And, they're getting all-time great basketball. Their team is 24-1. They might win 75 games this year, Chill. I mean, it's just, you could never predict things like this.
Yeah, you can't. I think
All
you're right, Swipa. I do.
Yeah. Well, Chill, this has been a great episode. Number one, thank you for allowing me the honor to host Chill with Chill today. Obviously, you are a big influencer in the basketball world. I'm just glad to be a part of the platform, man. So everybody in the chat, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Players' Choice, y'all don't understand. We are on the way to another mountain, another level. The things that are coming in 2026, Chill, I'm believing and praying it is going to be a double portion we are receiving. So thank y'all, everybody in the chat, for engaging. You're the best fans, the best chat in the world. We're continuing to make content for y'all, man. Shout out to Chill with Chill. Shout out to Players' Choice. Y'all know what time it is. We will have PC coming back on Monday at 11 a.m.
Did we get all the super chats?
Let me see. Let me check. We have this one, a pimp named Slipback, 7780. Danny, pay attention, Danny Wolf, man. My boy can cook. Also, like how Jordy Fernandez says, the rooks got to earn their minutes. That's real NBA development.
That is real NBA development, no doubt about that. Like I said, pimp named Slickback. This with the 5 ones that you have, you can't miss on all 5 of them. One of them has to crack, no doubt about that. And yeah, this is the first. I'll be lying to you if I said that I've been watching Brooklyn, because I have not. I have not been watching the Brooklyn Nets. No, I have not. With that being said, it sounds like this kid Danny Wolf might be something. So maybe I should start paying some more attention to the Brooklyn Nets and Danny Wolf. Maybe
for sure, y'all. We got a late super chat. Shout out to you, Randy Ballin, 4902, $10 super chat. If you were coaching OKC and have an overwhelming lead in the standings, would you chase the records or do some low managing as the playoffs approach?
I 100% want to chase the reason why I want to chase the record is because I want to solidify who we were. The reason why we talk about the 72-10 Bulls is because they won the NBA championship. Like if they were only a 66-win team and they won the NBA championship, I think that we would be talking about the Bulls differently. If the Oklahoma City Thunder win 73, 74, 75 games and win the NBA championship, they're in a different category, a completely different category than if they just won 64 games or 60, 67 games. Yes, if these guys are close to that record where like we get a month into this, if we get a month before the playoffs and we still got 18, 19 games and they've got, I don't know, 66, 67 wins. Hell yeah. Yes. Let's see if we could get there. Let's see if we can get to 74. Let's see if we can get to 75 wins. Absolutely. Because it puts us, especially if we win the NBA championship, it puts us in a different space. No doubt about that.
Man, I appreciate that, Randy Ballin. Thank you for the late super chat, man. That was big. Chill. Great show today, brother. And I look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Guys. Y'all know where to find us at. We are right here every Saturday. Me and my man Big Ox and my man Swiper, who filled in for us. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I just talked to my mother today. Call your mother. We will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man.